Good day, everybody. My name is Michael Farson. I am a South African by birth, but I left South Africa almost 20 years ago, moved to New Zealand. I wanted to take out New Zealand citizenship, and I contacted the High Commission in Canberra, where they said that I can take out the citizenship because I can never lose my South African citizenship, which in turn turned out to be absolute bull. But nonetheless, I took out New Zealand citizenship, and when I wanted to renew my passport, my South African passport, they would not renew it because I didn't have a retention of South African passport certificate. But be that as it may, South Africa is still my homeland. As we all know, Africa is in our bodies, in our blood, in our hearts. Nothing can take that away. I now reside in Australia, where we have problems like you would have everywhere in the world. But nothing as bad as what we have in South Africa. So what I want to do is I want to just point out a few things, and I will give you an area where you can log on to and help support South Africa. Even if you are in South Africa, it doesn't matter. If you help these people, they are going to help all South Africans in South Africa. Okay? I'll leave you to find out who they are once I give you that information, and you can do your research, you can go and look at them, but my advice is have a look at that. Okay. First, just heard over the weekend that the ANC has now declared that there is no more money for the Defence Force. Very sorry to say. The South African Defence Force used to be the strongest force in Africa and most parts of the world. In fact, I feel that we were second best only to the Israelis. So that was better than Americans, better than the British, better than all of them, right? And now we don't have money for that Defence Force. How are they going to protect South Africa against foreign invasion? Impossible. We do not have an army, we do not have an air force, and we do not have a navy. All of them are substandard. Okay? So muddle over that a little bit. Also, as we've known for quite some time, there's been no money for Eskom. Now, Eskom was a company that could supply power to South Africa and supply power to other African countries. So how can we now be in a state where there is not enough money for a company to supply South Africa with power? Power is not a first world thing. Everybody needs power, no matter where you live. Okay? So it's not like it's a bonus. It's something that everybody has to have. South African Airways. South African Airways has been trying to sponge money off the government for the last 20 years. How are you going to fly around the world if you need to, if your own country's airways cannot get into the air? The question then comes is, how safe are those aircraft? Are they doing maintenance? I don't know. Sad to say, sad to see, and I'm very sorry about it. Soon, banks are going to start withdrawing out of South Africa. There's been talk of Standard Bank closing up shop and leaving the country because of the mismanagement of funds within the country. Now, I don't have to tell you what that means for you and everybody else and me and all South Africans. Because if Standard Bank goes, the rest are surely to follow. And if they go, what happens then? I predict that pensions will be the next thing that the government's going to be fiddling with. And they might already be doing that. But watch that space. The EFF, what can you say about these people? All I can say is that they are human. But the mentality is out of this world. How can you want to kill the farmers and take their land and then not grow anything? These farmers are feeding the country of how many million people? And in doing so, they're keeping the price of food as low as what it possibly can be. The more you attack trucks on the road, steal from those trucks, that's going to affect your food price. Kill the farmers who are growing this food, that's going to affect your food price. It's going to come a time where everything's going to have to be imported. And you know what that's going to mean to food prices. Already food prices are pretty high. Our friend Zuma, who's now going through the court system, who suddenly doesn't know what's going on. Disgusting. Sport. The Springboks, they won the match against Australia on the weekend. But they're definitely not in the top 4 in the world. They used to be the top rugby playing team even above New Zealand. Where are they now? Cricket, same thing. Exactly the same thing. Cricket used to be, the Proteas used to be top team in the world. Where are they now? Google it, find out. They had about 4 or 5. South African netball. They're playing in the Netball World Cup in the UK at the moment, and they playing off for 3rd and 4th place, which I think is a wonderful achievement. But seems to me they've come to the conclusion that this thing about having only African in the team is just a no-go. They're starting to incorporate the best players, putting the best team on the field at the time, or on the court at the time. And what do? They make 3rd or 4th place. Well done to them. They're really a shining light for that country. The South African Rand. The South African Rand has fallen and fallen and fallen. As I said, I've been out the country for nearly 20 years. 20 years ago, 3 Rand bought 1 New Zealand dollar. Today, you need 10 Rand to buy 1 New Zealand dollar. Likewise, Australia. I'm not talking about the American dollar. I'm not talking about the British pound, the EU. None of that. I'm talking about the Sanzar countries down south. Southern Hemisphere. Where does it end? Every time that government makes a wrong move, boom. Look at your oil price because of the weakness of the Rand. Look at the price you're paying for petrol at the pump. When I was at school, I used to get 2 Rand to fill a motorbike to get to school. I stayed on a farm in Philippi, and to get to Plumstead High School. My stepbrother and I had 2 Rand each for the week. And we still had change. So where will that money take you today if you go to buy petrol? Petrol's 12, 13, 14, 15 Rand a litre. Disgusting. Anyway, that group I was talking about right in the beginning, they are USAC, United South African Corporation, USAC, run by Craig Montgomery and Tammy Cooling. They are people who are trying to get everybody to support them. Everybody who's wanting a better South Africa, to support them, to take that message to the United States government, the British government, the Dutch government, German government, and they're all starting to support that movement. Because Ramaphosa is traveling around the world trying to get money. And the more they don't give him any money, he's got to change his ways. You can look them up on the web, usac.center. I hope everything of the best for South Africa. I really do. And thank you very much for watching this.